when we last left off, we are trying to work our way through Amarang down the western side of the map to, you know, deal with this zone. I guess we're leaving more for last, right? Trolleys, right? We get the trolley working. Let's get to it. If you're ready, we can leave right now. Though you haven't seen another fellow around here, have you? I thought you'd come by now. You think you'll be alright? That's well, I suppose we did force your hand a bit. I'll have a look, just in case. You just go on ahead, Thaf. Alright, looks like it'll just be you lot and me then. Try not to let anything take a bite out of you on the way out of the rail yard. Alright. We're good. Let's go. Ooh, we're really close to one. I haven't really been looking at aether currents here. It's up there, I see it. I don't know if we really checked aether currents at all last time when we got to this new zone. It's not a new zone, but the new part of this zone. Okay. We should take a look around. Make sure we're getting all these. How are we doing in this zone as far as aether currents? Amarang, we have another 4 to track down. As far as out in the zone. Alright, we should check, make sure there's not one over here too. As we head that way. Saying to the south, so maybe we're okay. Here's him. Cool. Damn, that's smart. Did he have to thump me so hard? I'll be feeling that for the next fortnight at least. Not gonna be done about it now, though. I've pointed your overeager companions in the right direction. They've gone on ahead, so we'll need to get moving. Normally we walk atop the tracks, but seeing as the young lady has much shorter stride, that's more perilous a route than I'm comfortable suggesting. Wouldn't want anyone falling through the gaps. Of course, the low road presents other dangers, but having been on the receiving end of your friend's blows, I'm not worried on that account. You're up. Alright. Get to it. What do you think, Minus? You think we can finish this zone today? I know we got kind of a late start on Final Fantasy XIV, so we're not going to have as much time as normal theoretically, but we also have already kind of done half of this zone previously. I don't know. Wait a moment, I think I hear something. Oh, that's something, alright. Run! Cool. I wonder if it's up there. Let's see it up there. Looks like we're heading right for it, though. I feel like it's possible it might be up higher, though. Before we go down there, let's take a quick look around here. Is it possible it's up on top of this? east. Northwest. It's gotta be up there. Yeah, there it is. I'm gonna go grab this real quick. These guys are cool. Like their head and the hands are separate, but it's all one creature. I'll go ahead and grab this Aether Crystal too. I'm sure this is where we're about to head with the story, but whatever. So minus says maybe. Very rare. I mean, if we don't finish it tonight, that's okay. We'll finish it on Wednesday. This arc is kind of long for how not relevant it is to the overall plot. Fair enough. That happens sometimes. Sorry about that, I'll admit I didn't expect this ride to be quite so fraught with danger. We're nearly to Twine though, so we should meet without further incident. Already been there. Came back for you. And it says the next one is to the east. Okay, so we'll go over here maybe. This is it. Welcome to Twine. The original dwellings were built to house those laborers tasked with building the track, and over time miners came to seek their fortune, and that's what made the town grow to what you see today, but still the trolley that brought them here. As you've doubtless noticed, the track goes to the very heart of the town. It was the heart of the town, back when the trolley still carried everyone home at the end of each hard day of the mines. Now there is no trolley, nor much work to be had in the mines, for that matter. The only residents that remain here are the destitute, the delusional, and those with nowhere else to go, or so they say. That should give you some indication as to what to expect when you meet Magnus. As I said, it will help you to understand why we can't get the trolley running. Just don't expect too much aside from that. Well, that's encouraging, but I don't see we have much choice. Let's go meet the man. So, I actually went and watched, like, Ko and Asmongold starting Final Fantasy XIV. And, like, not so much about them, but, like, it's interesting to watch someone play the beginning of the story again. Like, they're watching the opening cutscenes and everything, and, like, just how much has changed with the Scions since the beginning, you know? Who are you supposed to be? Never seen the three of you in my life. Or the four of you? Look at White, you're gonna bother me. At least have the damn discourtesy to stand still. He thinks this one is deep in his guts. These are guests, Magnus. We ran into them at the mines. They're looking for a way to reach Nabatharang, so they came to ask about the trolley, you see. What? There's nothing in Nabatharang, not anymore. And especially not for frail little girls. Give it up. No, we must reach Nabatharang. I must. Ah, so you have your heart set on it. The world doesn't care. The place is ruined, nothing more. And you're not getting in there in the trolley. The thing doesn't run on hopes and dreams. We're not fools. It's necessity that drives us to Nabatharang. If you insist the trolley is not an option, then at least tell us why. No, I'm sick of people asking me at the blasted thing. Leave me be. We'll speak outside. Also crazy, like how much the story changes. Not just the story itself, but like how it's presented. Honestly, in A Realm Reborn, it's not that far off from World of Warcraft as far as like how you just the quests are trying to just the quests. I mean, there is a main story, but even the main story is just doing random nonsense for the most part. There's not much of a main story in A Realm Reborn other than introducing the Scions. And, you know, I mean, there's a little bit with the Ascians, just once again introducing. It's all introducing, and like you fight some primals. The story doesn't really start to take off until Heavensward, honestly. Or maybe the pre-patches to Heavensward. He only said that because he thinks I'm weak, and he's right, but I can't be, I won't be forever. There has to be some way, I must find it. Sorry, I was stuck in my own head again. It's clear that Magnus has no intention of helping us. Perhaps we should be asked the other residents. They may know something at the trolley. I'll take the north side of town. Let me know if you learned anything. A lot of improvements in storytelling came in the Realm Reborn post-patches. Yeah. Thancred, art thou truly content to stand witness to fate's course and take no part? It isn't a matter of fate, J. It's about choice, and I've had years to decide where I stand. Menphilia has spent too long in chains already. I'll not shackle her again by making my hopes known. It is for her to choose what shape her destiny will take. It is for me to stay silent, and to protect her, to teach her, to stand by her. That's the least I can do for her. So be it. Come, let us make our own inquiries. It's like, you see like, you know, like Asmongold, like comparing it to WoW, and I'm just sitting there going like, you don't really get the idea of just how different it is until later, you know, like the beginning isn't that good. Alright, talkative residents, huh? Is this the gemstone trader? Oh, over here somewhere, okay. Down here? Unrepaired Talos. Like for a later part. Where are you talking to? What is this markers? Oh, over there. Jarek! Just wait until Heavensward or wait until Shadowbringers? Yeah, I can see why. I really can. Oh, there you are. You'll be pleased to know that I got our friend back home with no trouble, and he's just fine. He's just a bit shaken up is all. And you, what did Magnus have to say? I did have a faint hope that your need might prompt into action where our interest is not. I suppose that was foolish of me. I'm sorry that we couldn't be of help, though. At least I could at least show you the trolley car we have here, if you like. You could have you give it a stroke or two. It has some very smooth wood. I mean to say you're not giving up, even knowing that Magnus is Magnus? Making the free trial extend up to Heavensward is a very important decision. Yeah. I don't see much point in you being stubborn about it, though. Perhaps stubbornness isn't exactly what the situation calls for. Can't forge iron without an anvil, after all. I can't imagine that anything you try will work, but if you're certain you can help me make preparations for the event, then it does. Didn't take this toolbox. We're going to inspect the rails. Have a look around the tracks. If anything that needs a repair, you bring the tools and be ready to hand them to me whenever I stop work. Okay. The hard part of like streaming the main story in Final Fantasy XIV is that if you want to read the text, just the sheer amount of reading is large. But yeah, like the change. Okay, so the patch quests in Heavensward, like the big cutscenes at the end of the patches, are nice. But then Heavensward starts to ramp up the story, and then Stormblood ramps it up even more. And then by the time you get to Shadowbringers, it's like, oh my god, it's night and day. It doesn't even resemble a Realm Reborn anymore. You open the box, revealing the proud array of lovingly maintained tools within. Brilliant. Now, if you could hand me what I need as I work, that'd be a help. In this case, this bolt is loose for one matter, and we can't have that. I'll need to tighten it. Kern? Why don't you have a wrench? Thank you. This one will do nicely. Now give me one moment, and I feel like if you want someone to try out Final Fantasy XIV and give it a real chance, you have to be like specific. I don't want you to play it for 20 hours. I don't want you to play it for 100 hours. I want you to play through the entire main story, which is like ridiculously long, and then you will see why everyone likes it. You know? Yeah, I don't see any problems here, so let's continue along the track. Yeah, I mean, like, you've got to play through dozens of hours of honestly fairly mediocre. Not bad, but not like amazingly good either. Like, it's not even negative at all. Like good, but just not like above and beyond good. You have to play like dozens of hours of just like okay MMO to get to where the story really starts to kick off, you know? Yeah. Like, the combat's not as good, the story's it's there, you know? Like it's not bad, but it's not exciting, you know? There's just a huge difference, but like there's such a barrier to entry in just like getting through all of that and like having to get someone to trust you that no, it's going to be different later, you know? You set down the toolbox, the muscles of your arm, enjoying profound relief, and then open it once again. You're quite handy to have around, you know. As to the lamp here, they aren't often necessary these days, but if we're going to do this, we might as well do it properly. And if by some miracle the night returns as it did in Lakeland, well, it's a nice thought. It's a weird thing, like Final Fantasy, and once again, I feel like I need to play more MMOs to really compare. But like, with WoW, what they've done, like there's so many expansions now, they don't expect you to play them all. You know what I mean? Like, you can get from level 1 to endgame and skip most of the other expansions and play the current expansion. And you can also go back and play whatever expansion you want, but you're not expected to go through the whole story, you know? Like Final Fantasy, you have to play through all the story. So like the more expansions they get, the more daunting it gets to actually get to the end game the first time. Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah, like you're forced to because of the way the story works. Like you can't skip an expansion because it's an integral part of the story. It'd be like skipping a book in a series, you know? It's like I'm gonna go read Wheel of Time, but I'm just gonna skip these 2 books or something, you know? Like I'm gonna read Game of Thrones, but I don't need to read book 2, you know? Like, I mean, it's important. Stuff happens, you know? Don't miss out on the Red Wedding, or, you know, like you get to the next book and be like, wait, where's this person? It's like, they're dead. You missed it, you know? Anyhow, a bit of this post seems to have splintered. Whether its lamp is lit or not, we wouldn't want these little pieces of wood jabbing the next person who comes through here to do maintenance. I need to sand it down a bit. Wow. Like, I feel like a lot of MMOs, and once again, I really need to play more of them to know if I'm right about this. I don't even know if I am because I haven't played enough of them thoroughly. I feel like they wouldn't. Most of them aren't really about their story. They have a story. It's not like, you know, but it's like not like so much about the story. Like Final Fantasy is unique in this main story that they have. So like the other ones, like they want you to be able to get to the end game and enjoy the current content. Because like in almost every MMO, especially a long running one like WoW or Final Fantasy, there's a very big difference between the original content and the modern content. And the modern content is almost invariably much better than the original content. Like going, like, I mean, as far as like quality of life and gameplay and fun, not necessarily as an overall package. I want to say that because, like, you know, some people love to go play classic WoW. They don't want to play the modern WoW because there are issues, right? But like at the same time, the modern storytelling and the modern things are like Like it can be a lot. That's what they want as a selling point. They want to get you to that. They don't want to force you to play through Mists of Pandaria and stuff. Or if it was ESO, I think with Elder Scrolls, a lot of time they add like new parts of the world or whatever. I don't know exactly how it works with the main story in ESO or Guild Wars, but I'm curious how other MMOs handle getting from 1 to max level and navigating expansions, especially once you start to stack up half a dozen expansions. You say Final Fantasy is an RPG first and MMO second. Sure, yeah. It's just like, especially with them getting popular right now and about to be putting out their 4th expansion. like how long have I been playing Final Fantasy at this point? It's some insane number, right? And I'm still not at the end of it yet. Just playing it like a single player RPG almost. Yeah, I know, I can type it after we get through this talk. Alright. Yeah, so Woodfile's perfect. Let me even this out. I imagine it's got to be over 200 hours by now, isn't it? I don't even know what we're at. That should do it. I'll bring some varnish along next time to finish the job. I haven't spotted any other problems, so we can move along now. Unless you'd like to take the view of the tracks from here a bit longer. It's breathtaking, I know. You have over 2K hours of playtime, yeah. Mining has always been the primary vocation of folks in the hills of Amber, you see. But after a certain point, they've dug up everything that could easily be reached and carried back by manpower alone. It was then that the Naboth Empire struck down the idea of the Talos, which they had seen at work abroad. At great expense, the Naboth brought the Mistal engineers who specialized in Talos here to the hills, and when you know it, the mining industry picked right up again. The character you've been leveling along with me is 108 hours. Twine itself sprung up around that time, as a matter of fact. It was named after the entwining of tales, the fruitful cooperation between the native Ronso and the newly come Mistal. Ronso? Ronso, like, Final Fantasy X Ronso? Got to level 676 and, like, maybe 2 more dungeons, and you have level 77. But that, like so much else, fell apart in the wake of the flood. The Mistal left, taking their knowledge with them. It was 15 years ago that the last of the folks from Daedalus Stoneworks took off for Gilmore. And now no one remains that can repair and operate the Talos. But there's no use in lamenting what can't be changed. And there's one more thing we need to do while we're out here, and we might as well get to it. Vultures occasionally make their nests on the tracks, you see, and it falls to us to remove them when they do. The creatures are angry when disturbed, which is natural, but nevertheless a danger to anyone passing by. It's not a favorite task, to be honest with you. As you may have noticed, I'm not terribly suited to confrontation. That said, would you follow the tracks north and remove any nests you find for me? I'll keep an eye on things from here. Probably won't reach the 77 dungeon tonight. Yeah, I might not. So let's see. Play time. 11 days, 1 hour and 40 minutes. So math. And it's well over 200. 240, 264, 266, something like that. Almost 266. Like, and we're not even through the whole thing. And like, yes, I've leveled a couple other things. Like, it's not like I'm doing just straight main story, but like, I've not gone that far off the beaten path either, you know? Not really. I wonder what the, like, if there's like a like some kind of like, if someone's actually done the math on this, like for each MMO, what's like the average time to get from level 1 to like end game, you know? Like what's the time investment to get to the end game in ESO or Guild Wars or Arcade or whatever other MMOs, you know? I'm curious. I'm not saying to beat the game, I'm not saying to do everything. I mean, just to get to end game, you know? With one character. One more nest to take care of. The crazy thing about Final Fantasy is that, like, that really is mostly me reading the story. Like, I feel like I've been reading a novel, you know what I mean? Like, it's presented differently, obviously, but like the length is there. Like, I have been, like, most of that 260 hours has been me reading. Like, very little of it, honestly, is actually doing something like this, where I'm fighting something. There's just a lot of story. Okay, we're not going to the town yet. Okay. Thank you. That should be everything taken care of. In return for your help, I'll tell you a bit more about the trolley. Nothing that can get it started again, though. As I said, the only people who knew how to repair the Talos are long gone. When they left, life began to bleed out of the town. The trolley's tracks rusted as the cars fell into disrepair, and now I was born in Twine, raised there. My first word was trolley. Damn it. And those were the worst years of my life. But then about 7 years passed, Magnus and his wife returned to us. Magnus is a real, proper trolley engineer, and perhaps he would never have left in the first place if it hadn't been for his son. As you're well aware, Amarang is hardly the safest place, and Magnus wanted his child to grow up away from its dangers. It didn't help in the end. The Sin Eaters got the boy. Isn't that always the way? The child had always said that someday he wanted to see Magnus's trolley running again, so in his memory they returned to Twine. Started fixing those rusted rails and broken cars, and it was going well for a time. Wicked white vultures, they're back for revenge? Never mind, I don't want to find out. It's cool how a JRPG story like this can fit into an MMO structure and actually benefit from it. Oh, absolutely, yeah. If they ever actually do get to the end of, like, the story with the Asians, it almost feels like that would be the end of the story. It's like, would you move on and make Final Fantasy 17 and a new MMO at that point? Like, or do you try and make an expansion and start a new story? Like, what would you even do? Nice work out there. And now you know the story of the trolley. It wouldn't do much good without the Talos, though. If there was even a single one of that still functions, things might be different, but, well, here we are. At least 1 or 2 more expansions after Inmarker. That's good. Not that it'll do you any good, but we do have a Talos that we've been meaning to repair. I could show you if you'd like. It'd certainly be nice to hear something other than Magnus's griping for a change. So we might have a Aether Current quest here. Oh, my poor friends, left to be eaten by horde beasts. I felt terrible about running away, but what choice did I have? No point in us all being killed now, is there? Finding someone to go in and retrieve the bodies, I mean, rescue them, would absolve me of the blame. Yes, if we could go to the ruins of Kelp, look for 2 more scavengers, I'd be very grateful. Okay. Way over there. Okay. Noted. Stuck on a chair. Unrepaired tallows. Okay. Truly a most vexing state of affairs. I thought mayhap a closer examination might yield something of value. I see. That means to build tallows stone by stone are lost. The means to build tallows stone by stone are lost to us, is true, but here before us slumbers a most fine specimen. Indeed, were it not for a few minor failings, it would be in working condition. It will likely require not but a few modest repairs and a suffusion of aether. Well, if you think you can get the thing up and running, far be it for me to stop you, but what exactly do you reckon is the problem? I should stress that I have performed only the most cursory of examinations, though such arcane constructs are not wholly unfamiliar to me. As I did suspect from the first, it is host to a network of veins through which aether flow freely. Or so it would, were it not for several fractures which now impede said flow. How in the hells did you get all that from just a glance? I take it you've thought up a solution as well, then. To bridge these fissures requireth a material highly conductive to aether. Once in place, I believe it will be possible to restore the talus to life. Might I prevail upon thee to acquire that which we require? Not far beyond the wall of twine dwelleth a creature of living stone, the debitage? Full sure am I that stone from that being would prove a most suitable to our needs. Okay. Very good. I shall have Thancred and Minfilia attend to me the remaining preparation. I spied but 3 obstructions to the flow of aether and talus, and thus I would ask that you provide 3 stones. All else will be made ready upon thy return. Alright. Let's go kill some rock creature things. Over there. Feels good to get through Nier. It always feels good when you like finish a game. Like you've done everything you set out to do. You know, the game is completed. It's a good feeling. I think this is a really cool enemy design. I love the animation and everything. This is one of the better enemies I've seen in in Final Fantasy XIV anyway. It looks really cool. I'm not sure about this as an attack, but you know, it makes sense, I guess. He attacks by just going, like, he's just swatting his hands at you. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. Doesn't bode well for this game. Thancred and Menphilia will return ere long with the remaining supplies we require. Dost thou succeed in procuring stone from the debitage? Fine specimens, one and all, you have my thanks. We need now but wait for Thancred and Menphilia's return. From end to end, the paths by which Aether may flow through the Talos have been duly mended. They require sufficient endowment. It's not moving. It's strange. The core refuseth to stir. I fear the condition of this Talos is more dire than I previously surmised. As a heart driveth blood through a man's veins, so doth the core Aether throughout this massive frame. Failing its repair or replacement, the Talos cannot be restored. So it was the heart after all. Thou didst foresee this outcome. Well, no, not exactly. We'd never gotten this far in trying to repair it, so we had no way of knowing the heart was the real problem. We tried to find another in case things turned out as they are now, but... Jarek, this isn't really my story to share. Please, Jarek, if something went wrong, maybe we can help. Alright. After all you lot have done for me, I suppose it's the least I can do. Right then, the Talos. Their hearts cannot be made of just any stone. You need a special sort with sufficient ethereal conductivity. Both it and the other materials used in the construction of the Talos bodies are mined in the same place. That place, of course, being here, the Hills of Amber. It was 3 years ago when she... No, I can't. I'm sorry, but you'll have to hear it from Thaf or someone else. And there are a lot of quests here. Back to the tavern, then. Oh, it's felt like a filler arc. Yeah, it feels that way a little bit, but they can't all be winners, right? Still here, eh? You can ask again, but the answer's the same. Our Charlies are... What? God damn, Jarek. Could have at least finished so I wouldn't have had to clean up your mess. Seeing how you made such quick progress in fixing the Talos and all, he was probably thinking you could help change things around here. And I think he may be right. Gather your friends and I'll tell you what you want to know. I feel like this story is really going to pick up. One, when we go after Yulmore after this area. Assuming that's what we do. Two, when we find out what this last area that they've kind of hidden from us is. And three, I feel like the story is going to get really good when we get into the patch, like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. Everyone talks about 0.3 and wanting to see people's reaction to 0.3, so I'm really excited for that. But also just... I just really want to see like the end of this story, because I feel like there's been a lot of build-up. Like we've come to this new... Well, not universe. This new dimension, this other shard. And we've been introduced to all the different lands. We've started fixing the problems in each of the lands, but that's all just like groundwork, right? Like, I want to see where they're going with it. I want to see like, what's up with the crystal dude? You know, what is Emmett Self really up to? You know, like, there's so many things going on, and like, I feel like it's all building up, and the ending is going to be the best part. But we got to get there, and we will. Magnus's wife was a miner, you know, greatest prospector there ever was.
When the golem heart started failing, she was the first to head out in search of more. Problem was, most of the veins ran dry ages ago, and finding fresh ones to tap's only gotten harder. But she wasn't one to be deterred. She just kept digging deeper and deeper. And then the mine collapsed. We labored day and night to clear away the rubble, but it took us 2 months to find her. To find her body.
Figured something like that when he was drinking himself.
Magnus has never been the same since.
They said they came back to like get it up and running for their son who got killed by Sin Eaters, but then he stopped. We hadn't seen the wife. I figured it was something like that.
Where is he, if you don't mind my asking?
Ah, yes, well, if he's not here, there's only one other place he'd be.
What? Oh, you again. How many times must I tell you? The trolley won't run! We'd be better off dismantling the damn thing and selling the parts for scrap. Now piss off back to wherever you came from. And don't let me catch you around here again.
What were their names?
My son was named Skuli. My wife, Agna. Being here with them, it beats going home. Home stopped being home when I lost them. I thought to try and drown my sorrows, but somehow the bottle's never deep enough.
No bottle is. Believe me, I know.
You've lost someone too?
Not like you. Not my own flesh and blood. I grew up an orphan, so I never really knew what family meant. Not until I met a man who offered to take me in and make me his pupil. He was a kindly soul, always looking out for me, like a father. Not that I appreciated that at the time, or anything else for that matter. But I finally had a family, and then I robbed a young girl of hers. I did my best to make amends, to offer her comfort. But the more I look back on it, the more I realize just how inadequate my efforts were. I let her down. That is why I refuse to let her legacy die. In the end, all we can do is press on, for those we have lost, for those we can yet save. And that requires your Talos. Please, Magnus. You are our only hope of reaching Nabarth Arain.
I was figuring it must be, yeah. It was clearly... He's telling a story from before what we've done. Was the father, God, Louis Sois? Is that who he was talking about? Oh, it would have been Philia's father, okay. I don't entirely know their backstory from one, you know, like,
She's not gone.
they've told us some of it,
No
but
matter
some of
what
it they've
you
just
say
left
or
to
believe,
history.
She's not.
Like, I know a lot of these characters were in 1.0.
We can still bring her back.
It's too bad there's not a way to play, like, the old story in some fashion, you know? As much as they had to reboot the MMO, that story is still part of the story, you know? At least to these characters. It doesn't matter so much to our story directly anymore, but like, it is part of the backstory of some of the Scions. Full well do I know the pain of loss and how heavily it can weigh on the heart. Nevertheless, there is but one way forward. We must needs procure a new heart for the Talos. Thaf, knowest thou any location wherein we might find the stone we require? No matter how scant the possibility, we would seize it. I told you near all the veins were tapped dry years ago. I suppose if you really wanted to try, you may find something at Novi's leavings. It was opened well before the Talos became commonplace, which is why the mining there was never quite as deep. When you get there, look for Guthchon, and tell him I sent you. Don't be surprised if he tells you the same thing. And assistance is most appreciated. Elham, I think it best Thancred join me in this search. Though he would be quick to deny it, his heart is in turmoil and his thoughts are clouded. It would be unwise to ignore his distress. There's so much crap going on the map right now, you can't even... Alright, there's a big circle here. Who was rooting for Thancred? Right there. Off to somewhere, are you? At last, a lead on the stone we need to power the Talos. I can't very well have you go off on your own. Lead the way. Level 79. One level to go, guys. Looks like we got rested XP the whole way there, too. See what it is. Only 37 million XP to go. You're not wrong. There's another either current quest here. Have you seen a charm like this before? I found it among the stones brought from the mine. A lot of workers wear these for good luck, and I expect whoever lost it is wondering where it went. It's the first time I've seen one made from cat's eye, so the owner shouldn't be too hard to track down. Go and look for them myself, but I got too much to do here. Would you be able to go in my place? The graveyard keeper is quite knowledgeable about charms and whatnot, so it might be worth asking him. You'd kind of think so, wouldn't you? But who knows? What's that you have there? Oh yes, cat's eye charms like this were once used to ward off misfortune. The tradition began with the Church of the First Light, and the gem represents their patron deity. Even though no one follows that old religion anymore, some of its customs remain, especially among the miners. You don't see many this exquisite, though. I seem to remember the fellow with an eye patch kept a similar charm around his neck. It might even be the exact same one. I never caught his name, but he's not hard to miss. He's not hard to miss. Last I saw of him, he was leaving mine with movies living with some others. That's where we're heading, guys. Okay, so the mine is going to be down this way, it looks like. Everything's over there. This is where we're headed eventually. At the end of this story that we're working on here. You're right, this little chapter does feel a little bit like a filler, but that's okay. I think I'm going to call it early tonight. We got near done. We're here beside an Aetheryte. I'm losing my voice. and I'm tired. So we're gonna call it a night. I will be back on tomorrow. We're gonna play some Metal Gear Solid 3. We did have some good discussion. It's always nice to have you guys around to talk to. I really do appreciate you guys coming by all the time. You're like the best part of the stream for me, guys. You know. Anyways, we're starting Metal Gear Solid 3 tomorrow night. And we'll continue Final Fantasy 14 on Wednesday. So come by tomorrow night for some Metal Gear. We're gonna be diving deep into a really confusing, complicated story and a really fun series of games. So we've only almost 100k points. It's awesome. And 122. So you guys are like, you guys are great. But anyway, do we have like a should make you guys VIPs or something. If I had a busy enough chat, I'd be looking to mod somebody, but we don't really. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. I can't just hit a button because my stream deck's broke. See you next time.